The summer is really dry for VR, as a lot of you guys know, and honestly, it was looking pretty bleak for a second. But the fall is always lit for VR, and we have a lot of games to talk about. It's already been a cool year for VR, but the fall is definitely stacked with a lot of AAA exclusives and some cool indies. My name is MartydudeVR, and here are your upcoming 2024 VR games. This list does also include every system, so PSVR 2, PC VR, and MetaQuest. Let's get it. Our first game is Aces of Thunder. Now, this is one of my most anticipated games because who doesn't like an air sim? Now, this is for PSVR 2 only, but I can see this being really good for people who have that headset, because I'm gonna be honest with you guys, we need more flying games. It's just not Microsoft Flight Sim or Project Wingman. We need different ones. So I think this one is gonna be good because it has online modes, has single duels, and it has a bunch of different game modes that are very competitive. This game does not have a release date yet, but we can expect it soon, probably by the end of 2024. If not, probably the next month or two. So to wrap this up, we need more World War II flying games pronto. Our second game is Alien Rogue Incursion, which is on all platforms. Now, I'm not gonna lie, this game is interesting because we saw like a little bit of gameplay for it, but I'm honestly curious to see what this type of gameplay is gonna be like. It's gonna be like more wave style, you just shoot aliens as they, pull up, or is it more like alien isolation where you're actually hiding from the aliens, or is it like a mix of both? It's really up in the air, but I think this is gonna be a really good VR game for people who can, tolerate being chased by aliens. Me personally, I'm gonna play it because, my man raised no pump, but I definitely do want to see where they take the gameplay because they have the opportunity here to do something really, really special. And I kind of hope it's multiplayer, or at least have an option. Also, there's no release date. Moving on. Our third game is Arken Age. Now, this is an action adventure that's coming out in Q3 2024. Now, this game is interesting because it's kind of boasting a lot. We're talking physics-based combat, custom weaponry, movement, a whole bunch of different enemies, a very interactive playstyle type game. Now, I am curious to see how this one plays, to be quite honest with you, because it reminds me of a PC VR MetaQuest exclusive called Stormland. Now, Stormland was fun back in the day. If you play Stormland on PC VR, you know what I mean. This kind of reminds me of Stormland, and I think it might be one of those games that maybe could contend with it. Obviously not coming from a AAA studio, but still has, that heart. There is going to be a beta for this coming soon, so I hope I get into it because I do want to record some gameplay for you guys and kind of show you what Arken Age is talking about. And just a reminder, this is going to be on PSVR 2 and PC VR. Our next game is one that I'm still surprised got announced, even though it's been like a few months. That's Batman Arkham Shadow, which is a MetaQuest exclusive. Now, I don't know how Meta did this. I don't know why Meta did this, but the fact it's happening is pretty great. But it's so interesting from a narrative perspective because the last time we saw Arkham Batman was in Suicide Squad, and I think a lot of you guys know how that ended. So I'm really curious to see how this story is going to take place. What is it going to mean for the character? How is the gameplay going to be? Is it going to be more detective based? Are we going to be throwing hands with Batman's rogue gallery? There's a lot of questions for this one. Can't wait till we get some more gameplay, but this does come out late 2024 if it doesn't get pushed back. So hopefully this is good. Hopefully it runs good on the MetaQuest 3 because I think this is a Quest 3 exclusive. So that means it's going to look really good because the Quest 3 is decently powerful. So this is a big question mark and we'll see. Moving on. Our fifth game is Behemoth VR, which is coming to all platforms later on this year. Now, this game is interesting because when I first saw it, first thing that came to my mind was Shadow of the Colossus in VR. And essentially, this game kind of is that. It's from the developers of Walking Dead, Saints and Sinners, and they honestly have a good track record. So I'm looking forward to the combat because I've seen some of the combat in the trailer, and it looks really fun. Kind of reminds me of Blade of Sorcery a little bit in terms of just the type of just pure physics-based combat that it has going on, and I think it has a lot of gadgets and stuff too. So we're gonna see how this game goes because at first there was like radio silence. This game we just knew was coming out, but now that we're seeing more gameplay and it's looking more real, I'm really excited to see what they have next. Our next game is Gunman Contracts, which is a Steam exclusive, which is very bold in 2024, and is developed by the homie AMB Seth, who made one of the best Half-Life Alyx mods on Earth. This is essentially like being in a spy movie, but imagine in first person, and this VR game is able to be played without VR and with VR, which is really cool. It's essentially if you take the Half-Life Alyx Gunman Contracts mod and make it its own individual game with new weapons, new maps, new characters, and it's a really cool story and it's a really good premise. So shout out to A&B Sub for actually taking a mod and making it into a full game. That's really dope. And I can't wait to try this out. I hope he lets me get it early because I really want to play it. There's no release date on it yet, but hopefully it comes out by the end of the year. Our seventh game is one that gave me a good chuckle when it was announced, and that is Hitman 3 VR Reloaded for the Meta Quest, which is an exclusive. The reason I crackled when I saw this game announced is the fact that a lot of people don't know this. Hitman 3 already has a VR mode, but I'm glad they're doing this again because the one that came out was no bueno. It was not good and was terrible. I'm glad they're giving this series another chance, especially on the Quest headset, because a cel-shaded art style, dual wielding, and overall user interface, and different movement options, and a lot more improvements is definitely what's needed and deserved by an IP like Hitman. I hope it has a good launch. They said it was coming summer 2024, so maybe within the next month or two. Seems like you're probably gonna push it back, but we'll see. Our next game is a Steam VR classic, and that is Into the Radius 2. Now, I played Into the Radius 1 a little bit. I haven't played it a lot, but I'm not gonna lie, it is a very impressive game with a really good amount of depth. I'm actually really glad that the developers got to make a second game because I always felt like with the first game, there was a lot of stuff they can improve on, and they're definitely planning on doing that. Now, it does have an early access release coming to Steam VR on July 24th first. Now, this does not mean it won't ever go to Quest or anything like that, but I think as of right now, it's just gonna have a early access release. Then maybe down the line, there'll be a Quest release. But if you like Stalker or any type of just isolated by yourself, there's a bunch of enemies around, there's scavenging, crafting, all that stuff type of games, then you definitely need to check out Into the Radius 1 and definitely check out Into the Radius 2 if you're on Steam VR, or wait before the Quest release. Our next game is one that I'm also surprised still exists, and that is Hellsinger VR. Now, I've never imagined a rhythm-based VR game like this, but this is a flat 2 VR game that is honestly shocking. Like, I want to see how this plays because I'm not gonna play. I have no rhythm, guys. I'm not gonna lie. Contrary to popular belief, I have no rhythm, so I can't help you with games like this. But I will still be down to try it. I'll definitely try it. But this is so cool just in concept, and I love that more developers are going flat to VR because honestly it makes the game so much cooler. Like some games just like really need to have like a VR mode, and this is definitely one of them. So this is cool. This game is coming out this year, no confirmed date, for all platforms. Our 10th game is another one I did not think was gonna ever be in VR and was a pleasant surprise. And that is Metro Awakening. Now, this is gonna be insane if they can pull it off the right way. I don't know if they can even mess this up because it's such a good IP for VR, because essentially you never see the main character. There's always first person cutscenes, all that stuff. It's literally the perfect game to put in VR. If they mess this up somehow, I will be genuinely surprised. But this is for all platforms, coming out later on this year, and you can definitely expect some high quality out of this one. Also, I'm not looking forward to the tunnel section of this game. I know there's gonna be a lot of them because most of the game's underground. I'm not looking forward to it, but whatever. Our 11th game is one that has essentially been fully remastered and then some. Wanderer Fragments of Fate for PSVR 2, Quest, and PC VR is coming out soon. Now, this game is interesting because I played the original version a few years ago, and it's one of the best puzzle VR games that I've ever played. And the fact they're going back and adding like way more stuff is really cool. It's kind of cool to see these VR studios get more funding and more backing so they can make their games better. This is a full legit remaster, remake with a lot more stuff than the original. Now, the original always felt like it had more potential to me, and I'm glad they realized that too and went back and did way more. So I can't wait to play this one because it just has way more going for it now. Like I said before, it's gonna be on all platforms, coming soon with no actual release date. Our second to last game holds a really special place in my heart because of the series it comes from. Zero Caliber 2 is coming to MetaQuest as an exclusive this time which is probably for the better considering how the PC VR version went last time. Zero Caliber was one of my first PC VR or any really VR games that I ever played. It honestly may be my favorite shooter for VR at a certain point. You know, obviously until I got to Pavlov and Contractors, but for a while it was my go-to shooter. So I'm really excited to see how the second game turns out. I definitely boot up my Quest 3 to play that one, so we'll see. Now, in terms of a release date, it was supposed to come out on July 11th. Now, I don't know what happened to that date, but a developer has said they're still aiming for a July release, so they got about 15 more days, so we'll see if it actually comes out this month. Our last game, but definitely not least, is Zombie Army VR, coming out on all platforms later on this year. Now, this game right here is one of those games you look and you really think, this game is perfect for VR. And from the trailer and all the gameplay, it looks amazing. I can't wait to play it. This year, honestly, is one of those years where there's like a bunch of AAA bangers, and I think this is gonna be one of them. Honestly, I hope they remake the whole series in VR. That'd be pretty cool. Can't wait to play this one. It's coming out later on this year. Definitely be on the lookout. All right, guys, that is all of our upcoming games for VR for 2024. Hope you guys enjoyed this list. I ain't gonna lie, it took a while to make, but it was fun. It's a really exciting year for VR, I'm not gonna lie. We got some heat coming up. Even compared to last year, there's a lot of AAA bangers on the horizon. I hope you guys are ready to play them. I was supposed to do my Big Screen Beyond review this week, but one of my base stations died, so I can't get B-roll, so that's a F in the chat. But I do have some more PSVR content coming, and the Beat Haptic suit just got pretty much enabled on PS5, so I'm gonna try that out and show you guys how that works, so stay tuned for that. Make sure you check out the description below. I got a lot of discounts on a lot of pretty good goodies down there, and remember, I'm just a dude with VR headset. Peace.